Hello, hello, my friends. I'm currently just having the time of my life driving through Connecticut on my way to Six Flags New England. And I kind of had a little think here that maybe I should do something while I'm on the way because, I don't really do a debrief of any kind about my thoughts about these parks that I go to. I just vlog them while I'm there, at that time, and then never really speak of them again. So I introduced to you possibly a new type of video series, just road trip ramblings, where I'm going to talk about the parks that I'm headed to or have been to and kind of give you my thoughts, and who knows, maybe you'll have some thoughts yourself and you'd like to share that as well. But Six Flags New England, I have not been there since 2021, and for good reason. There hasn't been really anything new to come to that park in a number of years. I think most recently they had announced that they were getting rid of Goliath. I don't know if the pandemic really got in the way of any sort of plans that they had, because they got rid of that. It was that inverted super boomerang thing that was my first experience graying out on something, which was, amazing, but was notorious for being down constantly, requiring a lot of maintenance. And I think that it had some serious repairs done to it, and it's still it didn't help. They had some sort of chain or something like that. If I remember right, that they swapped that out, and it's still just, the uptime was terrible. So I managed to get on that a few times, but right before it closed. And outside of that Goliath being removed, there wasn't too much else notable that's happened at that park. What did we get? The Catwoman whip or whatever, which is basically, standard. Is it a Zero or is it a Zamperla? It's one of those little powered coasters with the helixes, very long train. And it's fun, it's nice. It's a good kiddie ride, family ride, I guess, but still nothing crazy. That park has not had anything too intense added to it since Wicked Cyclone, maybe? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna just do all of this off the top of my head. I'm not fact checking myself. But at any rate, I was trying to think, what kind of coaster would be nice to have in that park? Oh, Connecticut, we're slowing down again. So exciting. It's like they have magnets in their bumpers here. What kind of coaster would be ideal, would fit well, nicely in the current lineup? Because they have Pandemonium, that I think that's a Gerstlauer spinner, and then Wicked Cyclone and Superman are kind of their marquee ones. I do like their floorless coaster over there. Riddlers, which is Mind Eraser, which that could go, honestly. If it went, I don't know if people would miss it, to be honest. They do have an SNS free spin, which it's an SNS free spin. I feel like they must have gotten a discount on that because they are at so many different Six Flags. They have Flashback, which is their boomerang, and I don't know. Those old Vekoma boomerangs, they don't do anything for me. Those are one and done just for the credit. I don't know. I haven't heard anybody speak of truly loving those coasters, that style of coaster. It feels dated, honestly. And the fact that they had two boomerangs at one point was pretty funny to me, and really close to each other too. So I'm probably forgetting one or two coasters. I think there's, obviously there's the wooden coaster, the old wooden coaster that they have, Thunderbolt. And then the Wild Mouse, which actually that one I kind of enjoy. That's a solid little Wild Mouse. But yeah, outside of that, they have some flat rides. They could probably, I think every Six Flags at this point could use a few more flat rides. I don't know off the top of my head which one. They already have the Giant Discovery, or is it a Giga? I don't remember, but they have that. But a few more flat rides would always do well to increase the capacity. I know that I rag on Great Adventure a lot for probably needing to bring back some of their flat rides, since most of them are closed and gone, or standing but not operating. And just like every other Six Flags, it's never been a pretty seamless experience when going for food and all of that stuff. I don't recall there being much entertainment. There's just that one theater, and that's kind of it. I know at Fright Fest, they were pretty solid. That's the last time I was there, actually, for Fright Fest in 2021, I believe. But outside of their special events, and I don't think they've been doing Holiday in the Park anymore. That's a thing of the past. Sadly, they scaled back a whole lot. But they did, at the time that I went in 2021, have a show in that rockabilly section that I'm forgetting official names, obviously, because they all kind of start blending together in my head. So I wish there was more entertainment. I do appreciate that some of the Looney Tunes characters there are different in the ones that meet and greet regularly than at Great Adventure. I've even seen a meet and greet granny, a meet and greet granny of all things. Like, that's amazing that some kid, you know, doing his summer job during high school or college is dressing up like granny. Like, what? Imagine that's your job. Other unique characters I've seen there that I haven't seen at other Six Flags is Taz, Pepe Le Pew, and Foghorn Leghorn. Now, I do remember the layout of the park being a little funky in terms of like navigating. It's just shaped kind of like a T almost, with like a little loop at that end there for the water park. I've also heard that they've closed a bunch of stuff for the water park, so like a lot of it's contracting, and I don't expect things to be added to that park, really. I don't expect any sort of significant capital expenditure coming in any sort of reasonable time frame where I'm going to be able to enjoy it that much. However, there's a huge wrench being thrown into everything that's possible with Six Flags, and I guess Cedar Fair to a certain degree because of the merger that's impending. That already got approved and everything by the shareholders, and I believe it made it through the regulators. So who knows where the money is going to go and what this combined company is going to even look like, and what that influence is going to be on sort of, I say lower tier, not because of the quality of the park, but lower tier because it always seemed like the investment wasn't there as much compared to, say, Six Flags Magic Mountain or Six Flags Great Adventure. Great Adventure has gotten now 2 new coasters in the time that New England has seen a lot of contraction. But what would I like to see at that park? I think, at least for their sort of western area, the Wild West area, the one that's over by like Houdini's and that stuff. I know it's like a canyon of some kind, sorry, but I would love to see them like revitalize that, bring that back, and do something more with it. Theming, I think, is becoming more and more appreciated by the general public, just because there's more of an awareness of like what's being done at Universal for Epic Universe. Obviously, most people have known about Disney, but to experience some sort of theming, just kind of like with the recent opening of Iron Menace and the queue, and that area turning into like the Steel Yard, which weirdly reminds me of like how they did the Steelers area at Kennywood. I still think that's the best direction to go. Add story, add some theming, add some vibe. It doesn't have to be too much, but story goes a long way, especially when you're in the queue, especially when you're trying to make an area feel cohesive. It adds a lot. And usually it doesn't have to cost that much to try to flesh things out. They already have their DC area, and that can be the DC area. But like they have that whole kind of harken back to when it was the River Whatever Park, before it was Six Flags and rebranded. Like, I wish they would lean into that stuff more because people appreciate it. I think more people are becoming more aware of parks that are regional, just like how Hershey Park is now getting, you know, millions and millions, like maybe 2 million more people or visitors per year than they're actually equipped to handle. People are starting to notice the differences more and more because we can see that on social media and stuff more and more. So the differences are the things that we should be celebrating, and I think that the homogenization that's kind of been pushed by Six Flags over like the last 10-15 years is something that a lot of people are tired of. All right, so last of all, let's talk about what kind of coaster we think that Six Flags New England needs and or deserves, because I think that if we're realistic, looking at stuff like Dark Coaster and the SeaWorld Busch Gardens stuff that added all of those straddle coasters, I could see them doing some sort of family multi-launch coaster pretty easily in the plot of land where the 2 boomerangs have been, and just kind of reorganize, smooth out the walkways in terms of its layout, and make it like a little bit easier to get around that area, because there's a lot of like funkiness to that from what I remember. So I could see some sort of family style launch coaster coming in. I think that would fit pretty well in terms of just what is already there, what's on the roster for the roller coasters. In my ideal of ideals though, some sort of Intamin multi-launch a la like Pantheon, or dare I say a Velocicoaster, would be amazing. It would be just like a jewel of New England, of the Northeast, because you would not have anything like that for hours, right? There's just nothing like it. Also, there goes a fire truck. Well, exciting times here on the highway. So yeah, some sort of intense, intimate coaster, or maybe some sort of family launch coaster, but launch coaster for sure. I definitely asked a bunch of my friends, and they all kind of had the same sentiment. Launch coaster would be cool at Six Flags New England. Now let me know what you think should come. What kind of roller coaster would slot itself in well in the lineup over at Six Flags New England? What you guys think of the park, just let me know. There's a lot of potential there. They definitely have a lot of history, but it deserves some love. What did they do this year anyway? I don't know what they did to attract people. They did, is this the year that they did the dinos? I think so. So 2024 they did some sort of dino safari or something like that, which is, I don't know, that reminds me of like Dinos Alive, but with extra dressing, like just a little bit of extra stuff. I don't know. I always wish for parks to do as well as they can, but realistically, who knows what kind of spending they're going to get, what kind of investment they're going to get that's coming with the merger. But anyway, those are my road trip ramblings for Six Flags New England. Let me know if you think I should do more of these. It's just me off the top of my head sharing things, and if you'd like to comment with some things off the top of your head, please, by all means. But for now, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and I hope you go make your own adventure. Bye.